Good morning, and welcome to this week in Phenomenal-ness. I hope you all had a really fantabulous week. Wow. Last week was really interesting, and I think just to get started, let's just center ourselves and just bring in all that energy and just place our attention on something that we love and close your eyes and just really focus your energy right here between your two eyebrows on your till or your third eye, and just open up that heart chakra. Take a deep breath in. Okay, may the blessings be. Or as a good friend of mine said this week, which was great, in infinite gratitude, uh, in infinite gratitude and love, which I really love. I hope you're having a phenomenal day so far. It's a nice morning, and I would love to know how your week went with saying no and, really using the tools that were set forth. I think this week for me, I shared a couple of the different things that happened when it came to the whole idea of saying no. And what really came up for me this week, which was interesting, is I ultimately was saying no to myself. But I was saying no to myself, and I was gaining self love by saying no to myself. Although, of course, you're saying no to other people. But life is really a mirror. So, the mirror really shone back on, it was shone back on me, or it shined back on me. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but yeah, it shined back on me. I found I had an interesting conversation last Friday with somebody that, really didn't give me a no at that time. But over the course of like the weekend and then Monday, I got an email saying, we're going to pass and no. And generally I take no as being okay. I've taken the no's from people, and I just really got this time that no was not the route for me. And having had been an actress and getting a lot of no's over the years, and being a salesperson and getting a lot of no's, and finding that it's really easy for people to say no in that way, but when it comes to like people coming to you and asking you for things, it's hard for us to say no. I found myself saying no to their no. Only and you know what I really realized was it was me saying no to my, I guess, my level of consciousness with the whole experience. And it was really empowering. And I was really happy with myself, and it was a weird kind of weird. It was a really weird feeling, uh, and it makes me smile when I think about it. And yeah, and then the other thing that I got as a no this week was no, I don't have to push. And so I said no to myself. And in saying no to myself, I was a little anxious, and I was a little like, oh my gosh. And then I had this really interesting dream which kind of played into it. And I really haven't talked about dreams much over the last couple of weeks, but we are on week 8, and I'm going to yawn because I was up really late last night. We were burning the midnight oil as an entrepreneur, and it's been fun. But yeah, I had this really interesting dream that I also posted on the Facebook wall and the event wall, and it really was about surrender. And I really found myself waking up saying, no, you don't need to push. You need to chill out. You need to relax. And that was like, it was like really interesting, I gotta say, because I really didn't. I didn't think that the saying no was going to be about me, but it really brought forth a lot of self love in my whole experience of me and saying no. And I thought I was going to go and say no to other people. And, while of course, there were the little no's along the way this week that obviously were necessary, I found the biggest experience this week in, in Phenomenal-ness and on my road to success is because I'm the CEO of I Am. I was saying no to me and no to the things that didn't make sense for me and the old consciousness of those things. And you know, that whole like Ted, let's look at some of the tools this week. The tools, creating your top 10 list, super super cool. I actually used this before I got on calls with people, to manifest what I wanted out of those situations. I used it a little more in like real time, as opposed to like I'm gonna put forth like a vision of what I want to happen throughout the week. I actually used it in real time. So as I was getting on the phone, or I was writing an email, or and you know, any task that I was setting forth to do that I wanted to manifest something from, I really I used the top 10 list right before each of those experiences, and I really found like the outcome of that was so powerful. Like, we are such strong manifestors. I've said it before and I'll say it again. And you know, when you can dial into those things, it's like it's off the chain. So I mean, when you can dial into that, and that's the gift, is when you can really say, okay, I'm going to take this serious and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to manifest this, and I'm going to manifest it now. And what do I need to manifest it? I'm going to use some tools, because you know, our whole life is about walking along our journey and collecting tools to put into like our toolbox or our tool bag, or how, you know, our knapsack, whatever you want to call it. And then the other thing, the other tool this week that we used along with saying no was, I say yawn again. Not that I'm just interested in this experience, but just again, I had a late night of being an entrepreneur. So reframing your goals. How much more likely to be motivated when your goals are positive ones? So I really found this week I placed a lot of gratitude and gratefulness in front of all of my goals. And that made all of the things that I was motivating myself about that much more positive. So, you know, I had to pay bills. I had to set up banking. I had to do all kinds of things that may not be motivating, but I put gratitude in front of it, and I really looked at like, what is the outcome of doing these things going to bring forth for me in my life? And I really saw a shift, and like I'm seeing like an abundance in more than just financial, but I'm seeing an abundance in like all areas of my life, as a result of like really putting like gratitude and making all of my experiences be charged by gratitude. So the motivation is that I'm going to be grateful. And I'm going to be grateful for what? Well, this is the goal. This is what I need to do. And that's how I kind of took the spin on, you know, positive goals. I took the positiveness of gratitude and motivation, and I kind of intertwined that with my goal. So, even though I put out all these tools, I really feel like tools are meant to be there as a guideline and a guidepost for what it is that we're doing in our life. And so, it's not about taking it 100% literal. It's about taking it and tweaking it and making it your own and seeing how it works for you. So, I respectfully and consciously delivered 3 no's, knowing that every time I said no, that I increased my self-love and my self-respect. And it started with me. So, and I reframed my goals. I used my list. I really, I played with them, and I had a really good time. It was actually a really eventful and non-stressful week. We came out of I have a dear friend of mine who studies the Kabbalah, and in the Kabbalah, this the past 3 weeks, ending I believe last week Saturday, was like the most negative period in the Hebrew calendar, and or in the Kabbalah. I don't know if it's a Hebrew calendar. I don't want to misquote the religion, but they basically talk about the fact that it's the most negative period, and we have to be very conscious of what we say, what we set forth, how we create, because it's a really negative time. And I believe we were also in a retrograde, and there was a lot of different stuff going on. So it's really nice to be able to just dial into success and exploring what works. And I stopped by a friend's house this past week, and she put up a vision board. I took a picture. I'm actually going to put it up on Facebook this weekend and share it with you guys. But she put up a vision board in her kitchen, and she's just doing some really cool visioning. And I just really feel like all of these things are meant to just make us phenomenal and make us really really successful. So, I think moving forward this week, let's just kind of take a look at where we're at, and let's just touch on the two tools that I really feel like are important on our road to success, being the CEO of I Am. And then we'll get into the last of the Debbie Ford series inside of This Week in Phenomenal-ness. And we'll move into the next series, which is a surprise. So this week, stay positive. Motivation doesn't last, or does it? And realistically, maintaining a high level of performance at all times is a challenge. So you can get burnt out. And that's one of the things I said no to this past week, is that I actually am burnt out, and I'm burnt out in a way that I need to surrender. And that's what I got for my dream. So it is true that you can burn out. I've burnt out on reading books. I've burnt out on making calls at different points in my life. And I really feel like, the motivation, you have to shift your, you have to stay positive, but it's just really about being conscious of the fact that motivation has its time, and you've just got to have an ebb and flow with it. So people who lose their motivation tend to minimize their motivation. Seeing the glass as half full and patting yourself on the back for your accomplishments can go a long way. I believe this is so true. If your goal is to run 5 miles, but you only ran 2, look at the bright side, because instead of criticizing yourself for what you didn't do, acknowledge what you did do, which is, which is to get the best out of the experience, right? I just kind of had like a thought there for a moment, and it really is to get the best out of the experience. And, kind of on a side note on like staying positive, another quick way to burn out is to ignore your needs. And far too many times, and again, that's the whole like saying no, and like all of those things that we should be conscious of in our self-love, is that we can't ignore our needs, because if we ignore our needs, then we're being a disservice to ourselves, which means we're being a disservice to the world around us, because we are vehicles, and what is within also shines out. So it's important to take care of both your biological needs, for instance, eating when you're hungry, and your psychological needs, such as stressing less. And so, in staying positive, those are just some kind of things to think about when it comes to motivation and getting burnt out, and, really looking at the biological and the physiologial aspects, or the psychological, not physiological, the psychological aspects of who we are. So if you have questions on that, let me know, but I will post it later today, that tool, because I really believe that, again, it's about having that tool bag. And then the second is learn to walk. Here's a question. Have you ever watched a baby start to walk? Yes, I know you all have. She might take 2 steps, stumble and fall down. The next time she might experiment and reach for a table to help herself. Then she might take 3 steps and fall down, but she gets back up and uses her mistakes as learning experiences. What if all kids assumed that they were failures after a few attempts to walk? Consider that you might fall, but don't let feelings of disappointment derail your journey. So start to walk. Take some steps. Baby steps. And stay positive. So those are the tools this week. And on our last segment of the best years of our lives, segment 8 of On Your Road to Success, being the CEO of I Am, just going to put the saying no back in, and I'm going to pull out the next card, and let's see what Debbie has in store for us. Come on, let's pull out this card that's being a little sticky with us this week. Drum roll. I'm so nervous. Wow. Okay, so I know why I'm nervous. Make powerful requests. Ta-da! This is kind of cool, because I have to be in surrender, and I've been asking myself, okay, so if I need to be in surrender and I need not to push, and I need to like now look at like staying positive and learning to walk, What can I do with my time that is constructive? So I think it's time to make powerful requests. So I'm going to read it. Our ability to manifest the things that we desire is in direct proportion to how powerful and clearly we can state our requests. Some of us were taught that it is impolite to make a direct request. So instead, we manipulate, drop subtle hints, dance around the subject, or expect those around us to read our minds. What time and effort we could save if we just learned to ask for what we want. Funny, the bottom of most of my emails that I write to people when I have an intention and want to ask them for something is that I always guise it by, my mother, a wise woman, always says to me, you were born with a mouth, so use it. I am. And that's what I say to them. I am. I'm using it. But there's something even more powerful about this. So a powerful request is one that's clear and specific and lets the listener know exactly what you want by what time you want it. It's not a demand, but an invitation to participate in your vision. Remember the words of a Mahatma Gandhi. If you don't ask, you don't get. Turn your visions into reality. We must cultivate the art of making powerful requests. I am getting shivers because I finally feel ready to do something that I have been so contemplating doing for the last couple of days. And I'm really going to sit down and make a powerful request. So this week, acknowledge the area in your life where you are able to make powerful requests. In what situations or relationships are you able to ask clearly for what you need? With your clients or coworkers, with your children or friends. Notice the places where you are unable to ask for what you need and identify what stops you from making powerful requests. Is it embarrassment? The fear of rejection? Lack of confidence? I don't know. I guess we'll find out this week. Allow yourself to see what belief, thought, or fear you've had, allow yourself to see what belief, thought, or fear you've had to give up in order to clearly state your needs and desires. And finally, identify 2 powerful requests that you could make this week that would move you in the direction you want to go. Buddha, make powerful requests. I'm excited. So, what are we doing this week? Our activity is to make a powerful request. So my powerful request to you, number 1 right now, is that you go out and you embrace your own requests and you have the most abundant success with them. Second, stay positive and learn to walk. So that's for this week in Phenomenal-ness on your road to being, on your road to success, because you are the CEO of I Am. I am the CEO of I Am, and I'm having a heck of a time doing it. So there will be some new updates over this next week as I get ready for the next session of 8. I'm going to do it in 8s, do a nice little 8 here. I'm going to do it in sessions of 8, so I'm going to let you know over the next week what the next session of 8 will hold inside of our road to success, being the CEO of I Am, on this week in Phenomenal-ness. So if you want to just, now that we've kind of, really gotten centered and really kind of like looked at what we're embarking on, obviously Friday is a day of a mental fast in my faith and in my spiritual belief, actually. And it kind of, it's also the beginning of Shabbat. Sunday is a spiritual day. It's really about taking this energy of today and moving it forward as we kind of get some rest before we start our next week. So if you want to just, take a deep breath in, close your eyes, place your attention on your Tisra Till or your third eye, think about something that you love and just, really ground yourself in the energy of what we're embarking on. So, as my dog just yawned as I let go of the breath. So, in infinite gratitude, may you have a phenomenal week, and may all of the things that you request come to pass. on your road to success, being the CEO of I Am. This is another week of Phenomenal-ness, and part 8 is done. Go out and be the vehicle of beauty that you are, and thank you. Ciao for now.